Right after I dropped my car off at the car dealership for maintenance, I got a call from the police. They said I was a suspect in a hit-and-run case that had killed someone in the process. They claimed that I was in the middle of making out with a man when it happened. By the time I rushed over, I was completely stunned by what I saw in front of me. My car was parked on the side of the road, its front end smashed in, and the windshield shattered. Just a few dozen feet ahead, 3 bodies were sprawled across a large pool of blood. Among them was a 2-year-old child. They were in a horrible state. The police checked the surveillance footage at the dealership. They found that I was not recorded in there. So, there was no record of me dropping off the car. However, in the city's traffic cameras, they saw every indiscriminating thing I had done. When my husband showed up and heard what I was being accused of, he slapped me across the face and yelled, "How could you do something so disgusting and heartless like that?" There was nothing I could say to defend myself. I became a disgrace, a criminal, the kind of woman everyone wanted to spit on. This incident affected my parents. The victim's family even took justice upon their hand and killed them in a car accident. Meanwhile, in prison, I was beaten to death by my furious cellmates. Even in my final moments, I did not understand the reason this incident happened. I was definitely sure that I had dropped the car off at the dealership. Why didn't the security footage show that? Why did my car end up at the scene of the crash? Why did the traffic cams say I was crashing my car into that family when I never took that road at all? When I opened my eyes again, I was back on the morning I was supposed to take the car in for maintenance. "Honey, there's an emergency at the office. I've got to deal with a project. Can you take the car to the dealership for the tune-up later?" my husband asked. Arnold Jefferson had just picked up a call and was immediately heading out the door. The déjà vu hit me like a tidal wave. I realized that I had been reborn. I kept my head down as I processed everything silently. Arnold noticed my action, so he walked over and squatted in front of me. "Are you mad at me? You look upset," he asked. He talked in a soft, nice voice, like he was talking to a child. As I saw the same warm appearance on his face that I had seen for 10 years, I felt an overwhelming sense of despair. After I married him, I handed the company over to Arnold and settled into a life of ease and comfort. Whether it was work or our home life, he always took care of everything. I never had to worry about a thing. So why today, of all days, did he ask me to take the car in? Why did such a bizarre, catastrophic thing happen the one time I did? Was it just a coincidence? Or something more? I swallowed my doubts and finally spoke. "I'm not mad. I just don't feel well. Maybe I'll reschedule the appointment for the car maintenance?" Arnold gently ruffled my hair, then scooped me into his arms and laid me back on the bed. He said, "All right. However, if you still feel bad later, call me and I'll take you to the hospital. Don't worry about bothering me." He added, "Just cancel the car maintenance online later." The whole time, I kept a close eye on his expression as I looked for any telltale signs. However, his concern was the same like before. His action only made me more confused. After Arnold left, I headed down to the underground garage. The moment I saw the car parked safely in its spot, I finally exhaled a sigh of relief. In my past life, after I drove the car out, our whole family was destroyed. However, this time, I would not let that happen. If someone was trying to frame me, as long as I did not touch the car, I would be safe, right? With this thought, I clenched the car key and went back upstairs. After I grabbed a quick bite, I lay on the bed, while trying to piece together all the chaos from my previous life. Before I could gather my thoughts, my phone suddenly rang. When I looked at the caller ID and saw the number 112, my heart sank. I forced myself to stay calm and pressed the answer button. "Are you Carol Cunnings? Your car was involved in a fatal crash that killed 3 people. You're also suspected of fleeing the scene. Please turn yourself in and cooperate with the investigation." The officer's voice was cold, clipped on the phone, and it made the hairs on my neck stand on end. What? Impossible," I stammered. "Officer, there must be some mistake. My car's parked safely in the garage. I haven't driven anywhere today." When the police heard my words, he thought that I wanted to evade responsibility, and his tone became even colder when he said again, "The vehicle is registered in your name. As the owner, you're responsible for cooperating. Whether or not you were the one behind the wheel, the officers at the scene will determine that." I ended the call and bolted downstairs to the garage. The sight that greeted me made my legs go weak because the car was gone, and the place where it should have been was completely empty. It was clear I had both car keys in my hand. How could the car just vanish? As I took a deep breath, I pulled out my phone and dialed Ellen Bordeaux, the receptionist at my company. Then I opened my mouth to ask, "Hey, do you know what time Arnold got to the office today? Has he left at all?" "Mr. Jefferson got in around 10 this morning," she said. "He's been in a meeting with the design team ever since. He hasn't even taken a lunch break. He definitely hasn't left at all." Arnold had left our house around 9:30 in the morning and arrived at work by 10 o'clock. The police said the crash happened just 30 minutes ago. Since Ellen was my cousin, and we were close, she would not lie to me. So, if he was not the perpetrator, who could it be? Although frustration welled up inside me, I knew I had to stay calm. If I panicked now and became disoriented, I would walk right into whatever trap someone had set for me. I replayed the officer's words in my head. He only said my car was involved, but he never said he had confirmed I was the driver. This time around, I hadn't even left the house. Maybe, just maybe, things could still be different. I quickly called a taxi and headed straight for the crash site. However, when I arrived, I saw it was exactly just like it was happened in my previous life. As soon as I arrived at the scene, the same horror that happened unfolded in front of my eyes. When a police noticed my appearance, they approached me and asked, "Are you the of the vehicle?" After he got my affirmation, he said in a clipped, serious voice, "Then please explain what happened. We need your full cooperation." I looked him in the eye, and in serious tone answered, "I don't know what happened because I wasn't the one driving." That one sentence was all it took to arouse the crowd's outrage. "Don't lie. Don't say it's not you. I saw the whole thing. It was you who got out of the car. Don't think I don't recognize you just because you changed your clothes." Amid the chaos, Arnold arrived. His steps were hurried. He was visibly shaken by the accusations, but he was still trying to defend me. "You've got the wrong person," he insisted. "My wife's always been timid, and she can't even watch someone kill a chicken, let alone hurt a person on purpose." However, his defense only fueled their anger. "You think we can't recognize her? It wasn't just her face. It was her voice too." Then a sharp-tongued auntie from the crowd turned to him with a sneer and asked, "Are you her husband? Then take a look at this video I recorded before you keep defending her." She held up her phone and played the recording after she said this. On screen, after people banged harshly on the car windows, I slowly stepped out of the driver's seat, while arranging my clothes back into place and saying impatiently, "What are you doing? Do you realize how expensive my car is? Do you even have the money to compensate me if it gets damaged?" After throwing a tantrum, I quickly wrapped my arms to the man who got out of the car with me and said, "Babe, we weren't even enjoying ourselves just now. What do you think if we find some other place and pick up where we left off?" The man in the video pinched my ass with a wicked grin on his face as he said, "Yo, little slut. Why are you playing hard to get? Is this your idea of fun?" I laughed. "That was nothing. Didn't you say you had something bigger I could play with?" The video ended with me hopped into a taxi, with a man amid the gasps of horror from the people around me. Arnold's face turned crimson red with rage, and he went crazy. His hand stuck hard at my face. "Carol, are you even a human?" he yelled. "How could you do something so shameless and twisted like that?" That slap sent me crashing to the ground. However, the real pain landed straight in my heart. Just like in my past life, Arnold went from defending me to despising me in an instant. He never once asked for my side of the story, or asked what really happened. He just joined the crowd in condemning me as a murderer. The onlookers, who didn't even know the full story, started screaming and pointing at me. "Why don't people like you go to hell? You kill people and feel no remorse. You even said something like that." A few of them clenched their fists and started moving toward me. The police, sensing things might spiral out of control, quickly put up a barricade and stepped in. One officer looked at me sharply and said, "We've just reviewed the surveillance footage from the city's street cams. What we saw matches the accounts given by eyewitnesses. All the evidence points directly to you. We need your full cooperation. Be honest and give us the name and contact information of the man who was in the car with you. We'll need to investigate him too," he added. "Even if I asked them to check for fingerprints inside the car, it would be useless." Whoever set this up came fully prepared. I knew then that at this moment, I was reliving the nightmare of my past life. The same crushing sense of despair and helplessness of not being able to defend myself surrounded me. However, I forced myself to stand tall, and with steel determination, I said, "I've been at home all day and never left. I don't even know the man in that video. Officer, please, look this case deeper. I don't care if you arrest me, but if you stop here, the real criminal will walk free. That family of 3, they'll have died for nothing." The way he looked at me changed instantly. His eyes filled with judgment, like he was staring at a remorseless killer. "There are multiple eyewitnesses, physical evidence, and the footage from your car's dashcam," he added. "Everything clearly shows you were there. In such a short time, who do you think could fake all of that? If it wasn't you behind the wheel, who was it? You have a long-lost twin or something?" I also wondered who it was. If I had a twin sister, this whole thing would be easily resolved. However, I knew for sure that I was the only child. I shook my head slowly in resignation. This made the crowd start throwing insults again. "Even after the evidence is so clear, you're still trying to lie your way out of it." I knew this was already blowing up online. It wouldn't take long before people started digging through my family's personal info in the name of justice. In my previous life, the moment I was taken away, my parents were surrounded at home by angry vigilantes, claiming they were bringing justice. My parents were beaten and cursed in every possible way. One day, while out, they were hit and killed by a car driven by one of the victim's family members. As for me, things weren't any better while I was in custody. Once the other inmates heard about my case, although they were also criminals, they acted like righteous messengers of justice, so they beat me to death. I did not want to relive my life only to end up with the same fate. This time, I have to protect my parents and clear my name. My mind raced as bits and pieces of my experiences in both lives constantly flashed through my mind. Just a split second before the police officer was about to handcuff me, I shouted urgently, "I know who the real perpetrator is."